Hey everyone, Corrie here, coming in to do a new message for today, and pause to try to get my dogs to stop licking their feet. It's not helping. So just like the dogs, the whole world has some sort of like irritation or issues that's happening, and as a world as a whole. So we're seeing a lot of that energy around right now. A lot. So I want to step in today and I want to just allow a message to unfold. I'm very uncertain of what is to come. I did have a message up for this week and I took it down because I got to explain it before I can put it back up, and I'll share them as go to this one when I do put it back. So it's not off, it's just unlisted right now or in private, because what happened with that message was that I keep skipping ahead. So I am a channel, I'm a prophet, I do prophecy, I am a mystic. So I keep seeing 2024. And I keep seeing the leap year, the leap year, the leap year. And I keep calling this February a leap year. And I keep saying it has 28 days, but then I say it's a leap year. And I'm like, I don't know why. I don't know why that's happening to me, but it's happening. So I don't know what the whole message is. I just know that obviously it is something that is either coming to a completion and end, or a big aha that's happening in the leap year, something that's really going to leap us forward, change projection, change lives, connection, whatever it may be. But remember this, the leap year is a huge year. 2024 comes with massive, massive changes. And I keep, whenever I'm channeling, I keep pulling into 2024 because time collapses. Time collapses in that world. And so all becomes one. And so when they're trying to transmute the message over, it gets turned around. So that's one thing that's happens in my work. And I have to let it go because it's not by mistake. Nothing that ever happens in a reading is by a mistake, or nothing ever happens. It's all as it's meant to be. And I've had to learn to really, truly trust that and allow those messages to come in. So I'm allowing those messages to come in as need be. So what else do I have, and where else am I going? I don't know. I don't know. Let me just feel this through. I'm just making sure my phone's not going to ring on us. So I want to start with this. Let me start with this today. And the reason why I'm not doing this in a live, and why I'm doing this as a recording, and why I'm recording this video is, or why I'm recording instead of doing this as a live, because this feels like a very something how I would approach a live video. And so the reason why is because it's all of the outside energies that start to come in. And so it doesn't want to read through the outside energies. We want to work from spirit, and from spirit only, and from the messages of spirit and what spirit brings in. So I do a lot of writing from spirit. I do a lot of creating my work. It all comes from spirit. I create by listening and being there in that present quiet moment, and in the power of my prayers. And so the power of the prayers and the conviction of the prayers brings about some big changes. Last night I was driving home, and as I drove home last night from visiting my daughter, something told me to go visit. There was this weird fog, and it was like really, really cold. It's been really cold for days here in Alberta, and I'm driving the country roads home, which I take all the time. I get about 3-4 minutes in on the road, and I start to enter this fog, and it feels weird. Like it has this odd feeling. And I'm like, there's spirit in here. There's something in this energy. I can feel this energy. And as I was driving, it cleared for a few moments, and then all the energy got clear, and it felt very clear for just a short period of time. I'm like, oh, it's lifted. That means, even the fog is lifted, the energy has lifted. And then all of a sudden it was layers and layers and layers of fog. And the fog was so thick that I could not see the front of my truck. I could not see the road at all, not in front of me, not where the lights would kind of end, nothing. All I was in, and this continued for about 20 minutes in my drive home, what should have been like a 15-minute drive, 20-minute drive max. No, it took longer. It was longer than that. I was in it longer than that. I was in it long enough to want to finally, I knew my phone was going to ring. I knew my phone was going to ring. I knew there's going to be all these distractions. I told you, and the dogs, my washers kicked in, everything is going crazy. So, but as I'm driving, I can see nothing, these layers of fogs, and it gets heavier and heavier. And I'm driving so long that I thought maybe I should be close to home, but I know where there is a crossroads. There's a crossroads where there's a stop sign and there's rumble strips. And I had not yet hit these rumble strips on the road. And I knew the road is mainly straight, other than me having to make that turn, everything else. So all I kept thinking was keep the steering wheel straight. Just stay going straight. You cannot see. It was me inside the vehicle, and it was just me. There was nothing else. I couldn't stop. I couldn't turn around. I couldn't park on the side of a road. There was nothing. You couldn't see nothing. In that moment, I really, truly got the essence that I was with spirit, that I was so closed in, not trapped, because I was still moving, but closed in. It would require me to really gain my bearings about a lot of truths that were around me, such as the road is straight ahead. You rarely have to make a turn. There's a couple dips down, but still not a turn. Everything is straight. There's only a couple spots where it's dangerous if you go over the edge. The rest, you're just going to land in the ditch. So I really had to come into that sense I am safe. And then when I hit the rumble strips, I'm like, oh, I'm at the crossroads. I am at the crossroads. And I have a choice right here, right now, to just pull over and just wait for this fog to lift or keep going. I know this is the stop sign. I know this is where I have to turn. And everything in me was like, everything of the fear wanted to just stop on the side of the road and wait. But everything in the faith of me, everything within me that knew that if this feels like spirit, I knew spirit was with me. I knew divine guidance was with me. But as I'm driving, all of a sudden these tears start to come, and I'm like, God, I'm afraid. I'm not fearful. It's not false fear. I'm afraid. I have tons of faith, but I'm afraid. I can't see. And I could just feel my vehicle slowing down more and more and more and more. I was going about 20. I should be going 100 kilometers an hour. And I'm like, and I could just feel this exhaustion of energy just leave my body, like, oh, okay, I'm done, God. This may be the moment I may never make it home. Like, this is it. And in that moment, I mean, I knew I'd make it home. I think I knew. No, I didn't. I didn't know. I didn't know if a car would come the other way, come from behind. No one could see anybody. It was so, I had never seen so many layers and such dense fog ever in my life that you could not see the outside of the vehicle. That's how thick the fog was. And then all of a sudden, I just heard, ask us. And I went, oh my God, lift this fog now. Help me. I can't do this. I cannot drive in this. I cannot get home in this. I cannot see, but you can. You have powers that are greater than me. Lift this fog. Within that moment, the fog started to lift. Behind me is starting to come another vehicle. In front of me, at the distance, here's another vehicle coming. And here was the one hill that I would have to go up and down over. And I was right at the bottom of it, right at the top of it, about to go down to the bottom. If the fog had not have lifted, who knows? Those three vehicles may have somehow collided. We couldn't see each other. We couldn't even see each other's lights. There was no way. The fog lifted. I got to the bottom. I'm like, oh, I'm free. And then the fog came again. And I went, really? Was it just so that I could see that I am safe and for me to trust? Or was it for me to really get serious and to really command, to know that I work with spirit and that spirit works with me, that spirit is here for me, that God is here for me, that the guides, that the angels are here for me? Is it for me to know that I am embodied in this light and in this love, and that I can call up on this divine assistance, that I know in my heart? But obviously, I still have this human interference that stands in the way. Is it stubbornness? Or is it that I deny myself the right to be in that light, that I pray for it and I ask for it for others? Is it that? I didn't really know. I don't really know. But I commanded it. And I'm like, I need to get out of this. And I need out of this now. I know I am with you. I know this is what it feels like to be with spirit. And I know I am safe, and I'm safe inside this vehicle. Even if I was in an accident, I am safer than if somebody in a car that has no airbags. Like, I have so many airbags in here. Chances are, if it's an accident, I may even be safe then. And if you return me home, I'm still safe. But I need out of this fog. I need to see clearly in this life. I will now see clearly. Everything started to change. I am clarity. I am clear. I am safe. And as the language started to change, I realized it wasn't in my desperate desires. It was in me getting to the point of being with just me and spirit and the I am and the power of the I am in that moment. I am clear. I can see even without my eyes. I know that in my mediumship. I know that in my clairvoyancy. I know that. So why am I so dependent upon my eyes and being able to see in the human world when I can see beyond everybody and everything? Why, when I am alone and I have to use this for me, do I deny myself of this? Why do I not have faith in this within myself for me? And so that energy started to shift. And in the power of the I am, I start to feel something unfold. And I start to feel myself in the presence of the I am, felt myself in the presence of God. And I'm always walking with Jesus. I walk with that Christ energy, that Christ consciousness. And I just became so aware of my body. And it really, truly set me into this motion of, oh, how much fear has such a control on us. How much, even when we don't even know it, that even in moments that we have this. So I finally made it home. I finally got home. I pulled into the driveway and I'm like, oh, thank you. Like, it was an experience that I needed to experience. And I'm so thankful that I did. And then I seen footprints. Going into my house, there had been lots of fresh snow and these big male footprints going up to my door and then leaving. My first thought was, I'm in trouble. Something is wrong. And I'm like, where did that come from? And why do I feel that way? That trouble is going to knock on my door. And I didn't go in through that door. I went back to the garage. I entered into the garage door. I closed it. And when I closed the garage door, I walked back into my house, another direction, another way. And I opened the door. And I realized that one of the biggest things that I was letting go of in that moment was fear of being in trouble, fear of being prosecuted, fear of prosecution. Most of my fears about allowing myself to be, to trust, to let my full voice out, to let the world know that I speak that I speak for God in my divine messages, was prosecution. And yesterday I witnessed an experience where I even shared with my students, my friends, my soul sisters, that I shared this message about, I think it was Cam White shared it. Yeah, I think it was Cam White, the astrologer. He shared it on his YouTube about what these big platforms are, trying to do to us in this, it's like that witch hunt again, right? It's that whole trying to stifle and make people, shut up people that you don't want to hear from or you don't agree with or that are not of your belief. And in that moment, that started this was all part of the synchronicities and the signs that were unfolding during my day that I did not realize how powerful that cord of connection really truly was. I woke up this morning, my memory was a memory that I shared last year of why do we, why did no one ever question? People questioned and feared the witches, but why did nobody fear the people who burnt the witches or hung them? Why would nobody fear the people who were taking people and causing such harm to an everyday person, where you created a narrative and a story around who you thought they were, whether you mimic, you mock, you joke about, you laugh at, you judge, you criticize, you don't even know, but you get a narrative in your head and you tell yourself that story. I'm like, and so that energy, that connection travels all the way back through my ancestral, through the root of my story, to the indigenous community, to the indigenous ancestors that I am a part of, to the witches, to those that they labeled as a problem. My ancestral lines go all the way back. My ancestry, just as your ancestry, just like every one of our ancestries, links us all the way back to that time of Jesus, of those. If they, they put the man on the cross and crucified him, and who stood up, even of his own supporters, and said, what the fuck are you doing? And why would anyone believe that it is a good idea and to put anyone on a cross, to burn anyone, to harm anyone, to hurt anyone, to prosecute anyone for the fact that you have some sort of belief in your head and in your mind, and that you're angry about something? And that was that moment of that door. And when I opened that door and I looked outside, and I said, I am fucking done being afraid. I am done living in any fear story. I am done trying to become this norm of society of fitting in. I'm done putting on facades and like fake fucking screens to show an image of what's not really behind me. I'm sitting in a corner in my office that has a daybed, that has a cat house, because my cat likes to be where I am. I had a big space downstairs in the middle of the living room. This is all realities. But the big part of what has been freed from my heart, from my soul, from the essence of me, that I will no longer fear prosecution. I will no longer fear judgment, criticism. I will no longer be held accountable and responsible for somebody else's behaviors, actions, and choices. And that's what we all have to acknowledge within ourselves. What we are witnessing right now in the world is judgment, prosecution, mockery, all of these things, because there is a whole world where we have just normalized and justified the immaturity, the lack of attention that needs to be given to dignity and respect and integrity, because we are not seeing it in leadership. We are not seeing it in places where we need to see it. We're not seeing it in parenting. We are not seeing it in a lot of places, and not all, but some. And we have made it totally acceptable to prosecute and to demonize, to belittle, to put down, to judge, to criticize. And then you wonder why people can't stay here. Parents do that to children. Parents do that to grown children. Children do that to parents. Employees do that to employers. Employees do that to employers. We do that to neighbors and strangers. This is happening all the way around us. We have created and made enemies and found every reason to put them on a cross by canceling them out in this cancel culture, by having to destroy and ruin their lives because we don't agree, because we don't have the same belief system. We have not come any further than where we were back in the day of the man on the cross and the witches burned on the stakes. We have come full circle to back to that time. But the difference is, I think we have stopped being afraid, or we're starting to stop being afraid. So when you see people rolling in to stand up, it's because they stopped believing the fear stories. And at what point in our lives do we stop believing the fear stories? What point do we stop demonizing and turning people into enemies? Because I own a deck of these, and I still talk to God and Jesus, and I still work with those spirits, because I have these in my hands, do not make me any less. You don't know what this is if you judge this. You don't know the essence of the power of how God works through each and every one of us. That each and every one of us has a spark of light within us. Our whole mission is to embody full light and love within us in this lifetime, to be better than we were the day before. And as long as there's a judgment, a criticism, as long as we're telling somebody what they are and what they should be and how they're not enough and how they're not good enough and how they don't know how to do this and they don't know how to do that and how they shouldn't be believing this, and if that's how we're going to do this, we're not going to advance. As we're watching war break out again, how is there war this day and age? How do we not have a higher sense of understanding? How do we just accept without questioning the behaviors and actions of people that can take and stifle our whole lives? So this message is coming from a place of where I knew I was, where I know I am not going again. And wherever you are judging, criticizing, prosecuting your own self by living from a boomerang effect of guilting and shaming, by probably a lifetime where you have been guilted, shamed, emotionally abused, forced into being an adult way sooner than you should have. Anything that has you running back into the boomerang of those emotions, resentment, judgment, criticism, fear, that are the after effects of an experience, a moment where your body is experiencing something, where it's feeling something, or it's having a mood, where it's seeing something that it is unsure of. This is the time for us to be the change that we need to see in the world. And it's time for us to stand up. I will not run. I will not back down. I will keep going forward. I will be more and more of this each and every day. And I hope you're more and more of you, that you stand more and more in your light, that you be more and more of your truth. And by that, first find who you are. This was a journey that I started to take several years ago. And finding my way into being a mystic, finding my way into this journey was about getting to this very point where I never thought in a million years I'd say, oh, well, alien life is real. I seen them. I seen these blue people. Where I would admit to the world that there's been this man who calls himself Jesus in spirit form, who has four forms that I see him, that I walk with him, that he comes in my wake dreams, my sleep dreams, that he has given me more guidance and information, where I've walked with the Marys, where these women take my hands and hold my hands and I can feel the softness of their skin. I can smell the oils, where goddesses appear. Anything that's in your imagination, in that thought process, is real into that existence of your own life, and how you learn to bring it into your world. Being an oracle, allowing myself to be a vessel for the light, allowing myself to be a vessel for God, for Jesus, for so long, for the Marys, that I've spent so much time in the divine, that I have received divine healing throughout many of the stories in my own existence, so that I am become a more clear channel for this beautiful energy to flow through, for me to not to be afraid. That's the whole point. First, you have to find you. If you keep bringing that essence of everything that you were, that shadow self, into all of those future jobs and everything that you want to become, you will always become there will always be something of that same old energy dragging with you, clearing it out. So in that fog, all alone, I was not all alone. In total darkness, in the midst of the whiteness of fog, it was actually like a goldeny white. It was the weirdest thing, in layers of fog. And all I could see was the inside of my truck and me. And I realized this is what my soul must feel like inside of me. For the truck is the vessel. It was carrying me home. For this human body is the holder of the soul, and it's carrying the soul all the way home. I now know that I can see in the dark. I now know that I am not blind in that dark, in that fog. That in that time, this is how spirit will always guide me. And from asking from the power of I am unsure, but you know, God. I am unaware, but you do know. I don't know. I am unaware. I am unsure of the behavior of human, but I am sure you know. And so if we want to be a change, we have to stop prosecuting ourselves and others. So today and every day, I ask of you to imagine cutting the cords. Close the door, cut the cords on every bit of that energy. I am love. I am loved. And I love humanity. I love the human existence. I love the human experience. I don't love the behaviors and the actions. And someday I hope to see that we learn how to treat each other with love and dignity. And we stop the mockery, the mimicking, the judgments, the criticism, because we never know when our path will have us having to stand up, stand out, to be a voice, to be something different than we are today, or whoever knows when you come out of hiding. And I hope in some way that this message truly, truly allows you to look deep inside of yourself today and really, truly change how you even respond and react, how you behave. Because we got to be done prosecuting each other. We have to be done accepting and allowing that political and governmental fights and the organizations to dictate and to put us back into boxes. And for us to be able to rise and shine outside of our box, to never be put back in. I'm never going back in a box. I'm never going to let myself be this again, not by my own doing, not by me living in fear of it happening, by me being me. And I hope that this message somehow resonates with each and every one of you, that you can allow this to bring it into yourself. What is your story? What fear holds you? And how is the fear holding you? And letting yourself be free of that fear. Finding that power within. And this is a bit of a solar plex moment. So let me give you lift the mic a little bit out of the way. A little bit of vibrational energy. So you can feel this too. We strengthen our free will. Whoa. Started to go wild on me. So that we can strengthen, allow the divine, the holy realm, the spirit guides, whatever you believe in, allow that beautiful white light and love to strengthen the threads and the cords to the essence of our free will, to connect to the God will, to connect to the higher self, to disconnect and deactivate some of the energy, some of the emotional trigger responses that we have, so that you can start to really, truly use the power of love to guide you forward before the judgment, before that unpleasantness steps into your heart and into your mind. That you can step into a more pleasant, more joyful thought experience and walk forward in life with that. Much, much love. Have a beautiful day. See you soon.